is Cameron Taylor, Noah Matthews, Colby Andrews, and welcome to the third episode of The Page presented by 24/7 Sports. Gentlemen, as always, great to be here. Great to see you two. How are we doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. Ready to talk some sports? We got a
Absolutely.
lot of football action today because that's really what's going on right now. We just finished the college football playoffs. NFL playoffs are in stride. We're going to hit on both those topics coming up here shortly. Are we ready to dive in?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, good to be here. Good to have you guys here. We're going to start with our first topic, our playoff recap. So we've been through 2 weeks of the NFL playoffs. Been very entertaining, a bit unconventional, I would say. But we're going to go through our wild card matchups. We were very wrong here at the Page. Very wrong. But we did have the Patriots. We did have the Patriots taking the Super Bowl, which is still not out of the question. So our first game was Kansas City in Tennessee. We saw what many think is an upset, Tennessee beating Kansas City. We got it wrong here at the Page. What did we get wrong?
We didn't account for Derrick Henry, I guess.
Yeah, Derrick Henry really showed up. That 1-2 punch of Henry and Murray is lethal.
For sure.
Travis Kelce got hurt, which is something that the three of us couldn't really have accounted for, but it really kind of inhibited Kansas City's red zone offense and basically kept them from being able to methodically move the ball down the field in the second half.
Yes, definitely. Travis Kelce, a big part of that offense. Jags and Bills. The Jaguars, a team that is surprising us all. We'll hit that in a minute. Just
Not me.
Wow.
I called it.
But they defeated the Bills. We called this one here pretty much unanimously. Not much we can really say. They were obviously the better team going into this one.
Closer game than I thought, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Really low scoring.
But Blake Bortles was the better quarterback in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Something we predicted.
Never thought I'd say that,
Tyrod
but
Taylor's good. I'm a
hurt
Tech
very
guy.
end.
Love Virginia Tech, but that
And he got hurt at the
definitely the
very
better
end.
quarterback.
Yeah.
All right,
Peterman threw a pick.
we saw
Okay.
Rams and Falcons, a game we predicted wrong here.
I got it.
Colby did not, but me and Noah did. I'm sad that the Rams are out. The Falcons get the win there, but the Falcons were the better team here, I do think. And they just came and they executed and they played very well. Definitely.
I think they were both really good teams. It really could have gone either way for me. That was my closest game that I would have thought.
I totally agree.
The only thing that sold me on that game was just the Falcons' experience in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're a
already.
little bit older team.
Right.
Rams are very young.
And Matt Ryan won the QB battle.
Yeah, I think
for
it
that
could have
game,
gone either
so.
way, but it definitely
Yeah.
the Falcons taking the upper hand there. All right, our last game in the wild card round was the Saints and the Panthers. The Saints defeat the Panthers for the third time this year, something that is very hard to do for any team, and much less in a playoff game.
Well, I got that one wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
that was tough, man. I really wanted the Panthers to win that one.
I got it right. I think
yeah,
I
I
predicted
did.
the Saints.
I did think it was going to be a really close game, but I tried to go with the upset with a little bit of the wild card team because I didn't think that all of the wild card teams would have lost. But
Well, you can't stop Drew Brees. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
He's
Minnesota.
one of those. Well,
That was the reason.
he's one of those ageless wonders. He's not quite Tom
Tom
Brady,
Brady.
but
he's a
I
first
love him.
ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, definitely.
For sure.
All right, so that's a little bit of our wild card recap. We will talk about the rest of the playoffs later in the show and what's going on there. So we're going to move into our next subject, my topic of choice here tonight, which I have the smallest section of the board because there's only 4 words that describe this. It's Tua time in T-Town, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Alabama Crimson Tide, unfortunately for me, the Alabama Crimson Tide defeat the Georgia Bulldogs in the college football playoffs to take home Saban's 6th national championship. We saw Coach Saban go into halftime, and we saw Alabama in a light we hadn't seen them before. They were frustrated and just didn't seem like... When you think Alabama, you think this perfect, flawless angel of a team. And we honestly saw them rattled for the first time, I really think, this year.
Well, I mean, they had lost.
Except for Auburn.
Yeah.
But
it's
this
always
team
the same
was
with
this team
Auburn.
was creaking at the this team was crackling. They had players passing out on the sidelines. They had confrontation on the sideline.
One guy.
This team was really struggling. But Nick Saban makes arguably one of the most riskiest and one of the smartest, craziest moves we've seen in college football, probably ever.
Oh.
Putting in a freshman in Tua Tagovailoa, replacing the elder statesman of Jalen Hurts. What happened? What?
It looked smart on Nick Saban's behalf because of Tua leading them to the win. If he hadn't of, Nick Saban would have been criticized a lot, saying he isn't a good coach. Why would you put in a freshman? Keep the what is he now, a sophomore?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts on the field, and it really proves that Nick Saban is probably the greatest of all time.
He's definitely one of them. Definitely.
Well, he tied him. So
it's not all just about national championships.
Definitely one of the greatest coaches.
One of, okay.
Yeah.
Both at Alabama.
Okay, so let me read you off a few stats here that I have for Tua coming into this game, just to get you a little information on how he played. Against Georgia, he was 14 for 24, so over 50% passing completion percentage at 58.3 to be exact. 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, including the long bomb to win the game in overtime, and 1 interception. So he played phenomenal. I mean, wow. And I love Jake Fromm, the quarterback from Georgia, but I don't know what happened. That Georgia team just crumbled.
I think that Georgia was there early as well. They'll be back next year.
I do. I agree. I
freshman quarterback.
Georgia's losing Roquan Smith, the best player on that team.
So
and they're also losing 2 running backs.
What I also think is the biggest difference in this game was Nick Chubb. Held under 100 yards rushing, really didn't show up in that game at all.
Sony Michel, too.
They were really he showed up more than Nick Chubb did. But we see, Jake Fromm having to carry the load as a freshman quarterback in a national championship game. And he played very well. You have to admit that.
He did it all season.
He
so
did, but
he's had plenty of
big shoes to fill. Georgia will be back in the playoffs next year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be the first one to make that prediction here.
Wow.
All right, anything else you guys want to hit on? Crazy night. We saw President Trump show up. First president ever to attend a national championship game. I know Bo Scarborough didn't like it, and there were some mixed reactions, but it happened. It was really cool. I think it's cool. I don't care who the president is, just for him to show up and make an appearance.
One more thing, touching back on this. It's going to be really interesting to see what Nick Saban decides to do next year for next year's starting quarterback between Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa.
We could even see a split of time between the two.
Or a transfer.
Also, just saying, they don't have any coordinators. Alabama doesn't.
Right, but they'll get that fit.
That's easy to sell, but
easy to sell.
It's Nick Saban's offense and Nick Saban's defense. That's all it is. The coordinators do not.
All right, guys, we're running out of time for our first subject, so let's move on to subject number 3 now. We have Colby. You're going to talk a little bit about the NCAA men's basketball, college basketball season, a very exciting sport to cover right here. Here's our games. Here are your top 5 teams. Nobody's undefeated yet. Still.
Yeah.
No one's undefeated still.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what do we got going on here in our top 5?
I think that while they do have a couple of losses, I think these teams in the top 5 can still be a dominant, except for, I don't know about Purdue. I'm kind of unsure about that. But
yeah, Purdue's definitely the weak link here.
I think the rest of them will certainly have a deep run in March Madness. Mm-hmm. And with all these one-loss teams and the rest of the top 25 having quite a few losses, I think March Madness will certainly live up to its name this year.
Always does. It's always exciting.
Of upsets.
So just a quick recap for you. Duke's number 5. We have Oklahoma, led by Trae Young at 4. Purdue at 3. The University of Virginia, one of our home schools, so a little bit of bias there at number 2, and Villanova at number 1 at 16-1 on the season.
I also would just like to point out that out of these, 8 losses? Yeah, 8 losses. They are by an average of 7.9 points. Wow. So that's actually really bad. If you look at a loss for a top 5 team.
That's a pretty big margin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see right here UVA
7
points. 7 points, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that this year, more so than previous years, that it's a lot closer at the top.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's so many different teams that have a case to being in the top 5, like Michigan State, despite the loss to Michigan.
Wichita State's right there.
Wichita State, I was thinking that exact same
West Virginia's right there at 6.
Yeah, and there's a few more too, but like I agree with you that Purdue is the one questionable one for me about this.
And
Especially that really bad loss.
Even Nova
Western
a little
Kentucky?
bit. I
Yeah.
question.
I don't question Nova just because they're a team who's been in this tournament before and they know how to play basketball. They're a basketball school.
Yeah,
You know,
for
that's
sure.
their thing.
But who are their stars? That's the one question.
You
gotta
don't need
look at.
stars as long as you have. You
But
don't always
need
need stars.
people that you can put the game on their back.
Right.
And
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
Nova does not. And like Marvin Bagley.
And
like
lady-
Devin Hall.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is brand new information. Actually, as Colby was writing this on air board, this got updated and needed to restart. So this is as accurate. This is 2 minutes old right here from when we're bringing it to you. So up to date information, and of course we're gonna see what happens with college basketball because I know it's one of my favorite sports.
Oh, it's the best sport in the country.
We get to fill out our brackets later in the year. We'll bring that to you.
Oh yeah.
Some fun stuff. We'll
That's
bring
gonna
our
be fun.
predictions here. Okay, guys, anything for college basketball you want to cover? Anything outside the top 5?
Just the fact that Trae Young's the best freshman I've ever seen play.
Okay. Well, and while they have 4 losses, do watch out for my Virginia Tech Hokies.
Oh, please,
Just saying,
please.
always.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good with college basketball, which means we will move to our next subject. Time to get into the fun stuff, the nitty-gritty. Back to our NFL topics. Remaining quarterbacks. We have 4 remaining quarterbacks, 4 remaining teams, but it's a little weird. We have Blake
A lot weird.
Bortles. We have Case Keenum, Nick Foles, and Tom Brady. But
One
Those-
is not like the rest.
those 3, like, if you, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say. All right, so Noah, this is your topic. Take it
I'll
away.
take this. But yeah, like I just mentioned, one is not like the others. There's a very clear difference in the quarterback position between all of these, with Brady being the greatest NFL player of all time, and Bortles, Keenum, and Foles never having played in the playoffs before, ever.
Wow.
Foles not even being the starting quarterback of his team for the first 16 games.
Right, he just
Or for
started
the first 15
started in
games.
week 16 down here.
Sounds crazy.
But yeah, one is not like the other. But I think that this also goes to show that there is so much being focused, so much attention being paid to the quarterback position. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but the quarterback position is still the most important position in sports. But it goes to show what a phenomenal defense can do with a mediocre quarterback. And when you surround a quarterback with weapons like Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, it can turn a guy from a backup quarterback to an MVP candidate, honestly. Case Keenum's an MVP candidate. Blake Bortles, it really goes to show what a running game can do. I know, I saw that.
Okay.
Oh, he's an MVP candidate, that's for sure. Brady, just like always, the Patriots Brady carries the Patriots on his back with help from Rob Gronkowski. This year he's got Brandon Cooks too, so he's got better weapons than usual, but the defense is kind of going downhill. The loss of Dante Hightower kind of hurt.
Yeah.
And Bortles, A.J. Boye and Jalen Ramsey, that cornerback duo is the best in the league.
They're very
They've got an incredible pass rush. Saxonville.
Saxonville.
That's their Twitter handle. That's their
Wow.
Twitter handle.
Wow.
But yeah, I think for me personally, there's one team that's worse than the others here, and that's the Eagles. Despite the fact that they're a 1 seed, I believe that the Eagles' defense is nowhere near what the Jacksonville Jaguars defense or the Minnesota Vikings defense is. And that's not me just being biased because I hate Philadelphia and all things Philadelphia.
Okay.
But
Okay, your turn to be quiet now.
all right. Okay.
The 4 teams left. So I guess let's just go ahead and combine these last 2
All right,
categories
that
because
works.
we're going. So our next topic was covering these last 2 games and who's going to win. But now we're going to mix the quarterbacks in there. I think it's safe to say all of us have the Patriots beating the Jaguars.
It'll be closer
You're
than
the
you
big
think, but yes.
You guys are hammered, but
I mean,
No,
I don't know.
I'm on the Blake
It's-
Bortles bandwagon.
you are
man.
Skip Bayless. Did you know that?
Like,
No,
you are Skip
I want
Bayless.
the Jaguars to win.
Oh, I
No,
think
I
it'd
am
be
not a
great.
Cowboys fan.
But I do not. So, are we gonna give them the upper hand here?
I mean,
if we had to make a
well,
safe
yeah.
prediction, we're saying
But
Patriots
who says
over
we have to make a
Jags.
safe prediction?
And I think safe prediction wise, we're also gonna take the Vikings
Vikings.
over the Eagles.
The winceless Eagles.
The Wenceless Eagles. All right, so you just mentioned. So okay, and then that leaves us with Vikings and Patriots
In the Vikings' home stadium.
in the Vikings
For the
home
first
stadium.
time ever.
I still have the Patriots winning the Super Bowl.
That would be your safe bet, but
There
I
were a
wouldn't
prediction
count
from the beginning. I'm sticking with it.
I wouldn't count
it's
the
Tom
Vikings
Brady.
out.
It is Tom Brady. I'm sorry.
That's Case Keenum.
It's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady.
All right, hot take. This is probably not going to happen.
You're
but
going
I'm
to
gonna-
change our prediction.
I am. Patriots beat the Jaguars. Vikings beat the Eagles. Vikings defeat the Patriots by a score of 28-21 with Xavier Rhodes having 2 interceptions off of Brandon Cooks and being named Super Bowl MVP.
Colby,
Wow, dropped the hammer there.
Yeah, I don't know what to say now.
do you have the Patriots? Please.
Yeah,
You still have the Patriots?
I would take the Patriots as a
I
safe
really had the
bet,
Patriots too. I was kind of joking, but it wouldn't shock me.
but
It wouldn't shock me.
So you just wasted their time doing all that. Okay,
I mean-
it doesn't matter. So we're still going to take the Patriots here. You said that Philadelphia, the weak link,
Oh, absolutely.
only in the quarterback position. Nick
No.
Foles
The-
played pretty good. But he's not. He's weak link. I still like this team all around.
Defensively, too.
That
The
offensive
Eagles
line.
are weak
The
link.
Eagles
That
are-
offensive line is best offensive line of these 4 teams goes to the Eagles. And if they can get their running game going, and if Foles has a half decent game, they could pull an upset against this Eagles team.
Against the Vikings, you mean?
Vikings team. Sorry,
Oh.
Eagles over the Vikings.
I disagree with that. Their defense is not as good as the Jaguars and the Vikings. Better than the Patriots, but it's not as good as the Jaguars and the Vikings. That defense, I think, that defense is not going to be able to hold the Vikings offense to as little as the Vikings defense is going to be able to hold the Eagles defense. It's going to be a mid-scoring game. Very mid-scoring.
Yeah. Brady, the obvious best quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In this,
For sure.
So he's got to show these young guns what he can do out here. So we'll see what.
So, is this the time where the young guys kind of take over the reins a little bit?
Well, Nick Foles is not a young guy. He's.
Well, I mean,
he's
I
in his
meant
30s.
more. I meant like the young guys, kind of like the
Team.
rest of the team. These are young teams: the Jaguars, the Vikings, and the Eagles.
We see the
Um,
Rams and some Kansas
exactly.
City. You know,
Exactly.
Titans.
Is this the time where some of these, you wouldn't really call them lesser contenders, but you wouldn't call them perennial powerhouses, somewhat take over for the Patriots here? Could this be one of
Well-
Tom Brady's last big shots at winning a Super Bowl?
Well, we see. You know, the end of the Legion of Boom kind of sort of happening.
Earlier than people expected.
We see the power struggle that's happening up in New England. I think if Tom Brady wins this Super Bowl, I don't think he retires. I don't think he's ready.
I actually completely agree with you,
I
Cameron, on that.
don't think he's ready to retire.
I agree.
He wants to play till he's 45.
45.
45? I think that's his
45,
number,
yeah.
45.
5
And
seasons.
this Patriots team will be in the same position next year.
As long as they have Belichick and Brady.
I do.
Yeah.
And I think that power
Agreed.
struggle was blown out of proportion. I don't think that's going to be an issue for this team.
It won't.
Neither one of those 3 are leaving. Obviously, Kraft's not leaving because he's the owner.
Yeah.
And all. But Belichick is stupid to leave, and Brady is stupid to leave, unless he retires, of course. Then the
Probably won't.
question raises who takes over as quarterback. That's a discussion for a different time, though.
Too bad they don't still have Jimmy.
So we still here at the page have the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. Safe pick. Guys, do you
Any bets for the final score?
any bets for the final? I can't. I got to see what happens here before I can make a prediction. I got to see what happens here. I'm not making a final score bet. We will see. We'll be back next week, though. We'll have an opportunity. We'll cover that.
I
We'll
really
have our
think, one more thing, I really think this game is going to be very telling about what could potentially happen between the Patriots and Vikings, because I'm pretty much counting the
Look,
Eagles
the-
out.
the-
Because of what they can do against the Jaguars defense is going to be really showing against what they can do against a somewhat better defense, but still on par.
The one thing, this NFL year has been truly amazing. It's been my favorite year, I think, since my birth 17 years ago. It was insane. Just as we're all young guys here, so this is our first time really seeing the old guys start to lose a step a little bit, and that's cool. And we'll see it a few times throughout our life, but this is our real first time that we can remember. Of course, it's happened, and it's really cool. The only consistent thing that happened this year, I really only think there was one, is that Cleveland still stinks. So. Sadly, I always low-key try to root for them just a little bit, just because they're there.
And one more.
That's about it. That's all I got.
3 of these teams have never won a Super Bowl. Let me just point that out.
So it's really going to be fun, really going to be interesting. I really don't know who I'm going to root for. I'm a Redskins fan, and so I never will see this.
I'm a Giants fan, so
Soon.
all of the
Totally unbiased.
familial connections within the organization, I still got to root for the Patriots.
And of course, Mr. Steelers over here. The
he's not
upset.
rooting for the Patriots.
I would still root for the Jaguars because I'm
I know you
anti-Patriots.
would. I know. All right, guys. So we have 5 subjects: playoff recap, college football, national championship recap. We had our top 5 and top 25 of our NCAA men's basketball, our quarterbacks, and our NFL champions kind of morphed together. Any final comments? You want to talk about anything else, sports related? Any other topics, gentlemen?
That's it.
All right, well, as always, we thank you guys for tuning in here at the page. We love hearing your feedback, of course. We hear it mostly through word of mouth, but if you would like to put it down below in the comments, we will definitely respond to you. Make sure that you subscribe if you like what we're doing. Also, one request I was told to say by a viewer was when you watch this video, make sure you turn it sideways so that you can see our board a little bit better, a little bit clearer, because we want to help you guys so you can hear our input on things. So, I think that is it. We will be back here next week. We're going to cover a few things. We talked about a few things here we're going to talk about the
Super
ending
Bowl.
of what happens here. There was also something you wanted to discuss. I can't remember what it was. We talked about it earlier in the show.
And I can't even remember either,
That's
but
okay.
we'll remember that.
We'll remember it eventually. Okay, so, is that it, gentlemen? We'll get this
Think so.
uploaded as soon as we can. As always, thank you for tuning in to the Page Sports. Noah Matthews, Colby, Colbama Andrews, and for the rest of our 24/7 sports family, this is Cameron Taylor, hoping you have a great rest of your week and enjoy sports coming up here soon.